John chapter 4 is not just about a woman at a well. It is about broken people searching for something to finally satisfy their soul. The woman came to the well at noon, not in the morning with everyone else, not surrounded by community. She came alone because shame has a way of isolating people. And some of you understand that feeling. You smile publicly but secretly avoid people because of what life has done to you. You have been betrayed, rejected, abandoned, and misunderstood, so now you carry your pain quietly. That woman had a history. 5 relationships, 5 disappointments, 5 attempts at finding love in places that left her emptier each time. And isn't that how life works sometimes? People keep searching for healing in relationships, validation, money, attention. But then Jesus arrives at the well. And what amazes me is this: Jesus intentionally went where rejected people were. Religion avoided her, society judged her, but grace sat beside her. Hear this carefully tonight. God is not afraid of your brokenness. The people around you may only see your failures, but heaven still sees your value. Jesus looked at her and saw potential where others only saw pain. Knew who was speaking to you, you would have asked him for living water. Not temporary peace, not fake love, but real healing and real identity. Because there is a thirst inside people that only God can satisfy. That is why some people keep returning to toxic cycles. Why do they keep chasing relationships that drain them? Why do they keep needing constant validation? They are spiritually thirsty. Dangerous thing about spiritual thirst is this: when you don't know your worth, you will drink from poison wells. You will entertain people who slowly destroy your peace. You will settle for environments that suffocate your purpose. Because God cannot heal the version of you that keeps hiding. Some of you are exhausted because you are carrying secret, a trauma and pain you were never meant to carry alone. But watch this. The same woman who came to the well broken left the well transformed. She arrived ashamed, she left awakened. She came hiding and she left preaching. The woman everybody overlooked became the messenger that carried revival back into the city. And that is how God works. He uses rejected people, broken people, people with scars, with stories, people who know what it feels like to cry in silence, because healed pain becomes powerful testimony. You'll learn this personally. There were seasons he kept trying to drink from empty wells, people pleasing, overloving, seeking acceptance from people who only valued what he could give. Stop returning to wells that leave your soul thirsty. Stop begging for love from those who cannot love themselves. Stop shrinking your spirit to fit environments you were never meant to inhabit, because your healing begins the moment you realize you were created for living water. The woman at the well thought her story was over, but her encounter with Jesus turned her pain into purpose. And maybe your heartbreak, your rejection, your isolation was never meant to destroy you. Maybe it was leading you to the well, to the place where God finally speaks life back into your soul. God heals you. You stop chasing people to fill empty spaces inside you. Because once you taste living water, you never beg at broken wells again. John chapter 7 is painful because it reveals what happens when truth stands in a world comfortable with pretending. Jesus walked into a city full of people talking about him, but very few truly understood him. Some secretly believed in him, but were too afraid to stand beside him publicly. And isn't that how life feels sometimes? People whisper about you in private, but disappear in public. They watch your journey silently, study your growth silently, judge your pain silently, but never truly stand with you openly. Even his own brothers doubted him. That part hurts, because rejection from strangers is painful, but rejection from people close to you cuts differently. Jesus knew what it felt like to be misunderstood by people who should have recognized his heart. And some of you know that feeling too. You tried to love people genuinely. You tried to help people sincerely and carry people faithfully. But instead of being understood, you became criticized. Because insecure people often attack what exposes their emptiness. John 7 shows us something powerful. People were uncomfortable with Jesus because his presence exposed darkness. Light does that. Real light makes hidden things visible. And some of you have been wondering, why do certain people suddenly dislike me? Why do I feel resisted? Why do people attack my spirit when I never harmed them? Because your growth exposes what others refuse to heal within themselves. Jesus said, the world hates me because I testify that its works are evil. Truth will always make comfortable darkness uncomfortable. And the painful reality is this: some people only love you while you stay small. They celebrate you while you are struggling, cheer while you doubt yourself, clap while you remain easy to control. But the moment you begin healing, the moment you start recognizing your worth, resistance appears. Ezekiel understood this deeply. There were seasons he kept shrinking himself to keep people comfortable, over-explaining, over-loving, over-giving. You are trying to avoid rejection, but God showed me that you cannot heal while constantly betraying yourself for acceptance. And somebody listening tonight needs to hear this. Stop apologizing for becoming who God called you to be. Jesus did not lower his truth to fit the crowd. Even when people mocked him, even when they misunderstood him, even when they plotted against him, he remained who he was. And one of the most emotional moments in John 7 happens when Jesus stands and cries out, "If anyone thirsts, let him come to me and drink." That verse breaks me emotionally. Because Jesus understood something. People were spiritually dying while pretending to be fine. And that is still happening today. People are smiling publicly while privately exhausted. Tired of depression, tired of anxiety, tired of carrying silent pain. And maybe that is why you found this message tonight. Not flawless people, but thirsty people tired of fake love, depression, anxiety, and carrying silent pain. Because deep inside, your soul is thirsty for something real. Not performance, not temporary validation, not another distraction. Real peace, real healing, real identity. John 7 teaches us that you can stand in crowded places and still feel empty without God. When living water touches your soul, everything changes. The rejection still happened, the betrayal still hurt, but you stop depending on broken people to give you what only God can provide. You were never sent to fit in with darkness, you were sent to become light. Betrayal still hurt, but you stop depending on broken people to give you what only God can provide. You were never sent to fit in with darkness, you were sent to become light. There are moments in life when your mistakes become public. Moments when people stop seeing your humanity and only see your failure. That is John 8. A woman is dragged through the streets, humiliated, broken, condemned, not privately. The same people who smiled in her face now held stones in their hands, but the people accusing her were just as guilty as she was. But religion knows how to expose other people's sins while hiding its own. They threw her at the feet of Jesus and said, according to the law, she deserves to die. Can you imagine the fear, the shame, the embarrassment, the silence? Maybe she stopped crying because she already accepted death. Maybe she thought, this is how my story ends. The Bible says Jesus bent down and started writing in the dirt. And I wonder, what was he writing? He was likely writing the secret sins of the men holding stones, reminding them that they are not innocent either. Then Jesus stood up and spoke one sentence that shook heaven and earth. He that is without sin among you, let him cast the first stone. Suddenly the crowd got quiet because people love judging. Until holiness becomes the standard, one by one the stones started dropping. Can you hear it? Stone after stone, ego after ego, pride after pride. Until the woman looked up and nobody was left. The same crowd that came to destroy her walked away defeated by grace. And then Jesus asked her, woman, where are your accusers? She said, no man, Lord. And Jesus replied with words that still heal broken people today. Neither do I condemn thee. Go and sin no more. That verse is powerful because Jesus did not ignore her sin, but he also did not let her sin define her. That is the gospel. God sees the worst parts of us and still chooses mercy. Some of us are crying over mistakes God already forgave. Some people still carry shame for seasons Jesus already redeemed. The enemy keeps reminding you about who you were while God keeps calling you toward who you can become. John 8 is proof that grace still reaches dirty places. Proof that failure is not final. Proof that one encounter with Jesus, God can silence every voice trying to bury you. People may remember your past, but God speaks to your purpose. And maybe that is why you survived what should have destroyed you. Because mercy stepped in. The stones did not hit you because grace covered you. You should have lost your mind, but mercy covered you. You should have given up, but mercy covered you. You should have been destroyed by guilt, but mercy stood between you and your shame. And tonight, Jesus is still asking broken people the same question. Where are your accusers? Because when God forgives you, you do not have to live chained to yesterday anymore.